Welcome to Preserving the Pantry, where I talk about everything related to food preserving. I am your host, Kathy Burgett.
Hello, welcome back to the pantry. Have you ever had bananas on your counter go from green to all of a sudden overripe and ready to use for banana bread? It seems to happen to me all the time. I love bananas when they're at that perfect ripeness to eat, and it seems to be a little bit different for everyone. But then all of a sudden I look and those bananas are almost ready to go bad. They're getting so dark and overripe. That's the perfect time to use them in baking. I use bananas all the time in baking. I have oatmeal banana muffins, blueberry banana muffins, a blueberry banana coffee cake. I have a quinoa banana bread. Lots of recipes and ways to use bananas. But sometimes those bananas are totally ripe and I don't have time to bake. So then what I do, instead of letting those bananas go to waste, is I just take those whole bananas, peel and all, and pop them right into the freezer. I don't even put them in a bag. It gives me time to use those bananas later. And it really works really well. So what I do is just pop those in the freezer, and then when I'm ready to bake or have time to bake, I pull those bananas out and I let them thaw. They actually thaw fairly quickly. Now the bananas are going to be black. They're going to look awful, but they're totally good, so don't let that worry you. I pull those bananas out, let them thaw, and then slip them out of their skins. The bananas are going to be almost like they're already been mashed up. They're really, really soft. They're perfect for using in banana breads, and I use them for that all the time. Another way to freeze those bananas is to take them out of the peel, slice them into chunks, place them on a baking sheet lined with a silicone mat so that they don't stick to the baking sheet. Put that whole baking sheet in the freezer, and when those bananas are frozen, you'll take it out, take the bananas off of the baking sheet, and then put them into a zip top bag and just put them back in the freezer. Make sure you label and date those. And I use those a lot for popping into my smoothies. I love just mixing up a variety of frozen fruits like bananas, raspberries, blueberries, huckleberries, and then I also add usually a handful of spinach, sometimes a carrot, yogurt, and I just mix that all together until it's nice and pureed. And the fruit keeps everything really sweet. The veggies give me extra nutrients that I need, and it's a great way to start the day. Let's go back to those whole bananas. I talked about how I froze those for banana bread. I want to share with you a recipe that I use those frozen bananas for. I take those bananas out of the freezer, and once they're soft enough, I slip the skins off, and those bananas are already soft and mushy. I'll need about 3 bananas for this recipe, which makes about 1 cup of mashed bananas. For this recipe, it's for blueberry banana muffins. You'll need 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of milk, 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of oil, canola, vegetable oil, or any light tasting oil. Whatever you have and what you use is fine. A teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of those bananas. Now you can also use just regular bananas that haven't been frozen, but this is a great recipe to use those frozen bananas on. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, half teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1.5 cups of blueberries. You can use fresh blueberries. You can also use frozen blueberries. And then to finish them all off, I like to use a tablespoon of coarse sparkling sugar. This is totally optional, but it gives a nice crunchy top to it and it keeps them a little bit sparkly, and it just makes them taste like a bakery-style muffin. You combine the brown sugar, milk, eggs, oil, and vanilla in a bowl, and I just stir it all together. I add the mashed bananas, and then I add the flour, baking powder, salt, cinnamon right on top. And what I do so that I don't have to use an extra bowl is I put all of those dry ingredients right on top, and I start stirring those together first, and then so that they start to get incorporated together, and then I mix it into that wet mixture. Once everything is just slightly moistened, I fold in the blueberries. I like to use an ice cream scoop to scoop my batter into my muffin tins. I typically don't use the paper liners, but you can. And if you don't use the paper liners, just spray your muffin tin lightly with a nonstick spray. Scoop the batter into the muffin tins. I sprinkle with the coarse sugar and then pop these into the oven. They will bake in a 375-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 18 to 20 minutes. If you're using the frozen blueberries, you'll add about 3 to 5 minutes of extra baking time to those muffins. Once I pull them out, I set the whole tray on a baking rack and I let it cool for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes up to 5 minutes. And then I take them out of the muffin tin and I set them on the baking rack until they're fully cooled. These are muffins that are great that you can eat while they're still warm, but once they're fully cool, just package them into an airtight container and store them at room temperature for 3 to 5 days. You can also freeze these muffins, which will even make them last longer, and just pull out 1 or 2 muffins whenever you need a muffin, and they're good to go. So give it a try with freezing the bananas, and I want you to make these blueberry banana muffins and let me know what you think. They're a favorite in our house, and I'm sure they'll be in yours too. Bye. Thanks for listening, and be sure to tune in again next week for more episodes of Preserving the Pantry.